Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Hobby Ramblers featuring a special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself, Mr. Special Guest, and link us to your Instagram?
Hello, I'm Mr. Special Guest. My name is Matty Mansell. I'm from Ballarat, living in New Zealand currently since the start of the year. My Instagram is baraelsbrush. You may have seen me around with all the nebula elves. Stars everywhere, space for days.
Oh, yeah. I've seen some of your stuff. It's come up on my feed. That is tight work, bro.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'm glad it's come up on your feed. That's kind of the dream, eh?
Yeah.
Basically means that, everything's working out pretty fine, yeah!
Exactly.
Yeah.
Post it there so people can see it. If people are seeing it, it's doing its job. Love it.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, Matt, first prompt for today is going to be, how did you get started in hobbying?
Oh, well, it's a big question, isn't it? Like, for a lot of us, it's a childhood hobby. Then obviously we realized we cannot fund this ourselves. I broke away and came back, but my cousin in Australia had a massive army of ultramarines, and I feel like every man and his dog had ultramarines back when I was a kid. Like, that was just the go-to. You play Warhammer, you have ultramarines, and as a kid,
I am the minority. I have never had an ultramarine or Son of Macragge army. Never.
Never. I've
do you have at
also
least
never had one.
That's an ultramarine, though. You've got to have something.
No.
I've painted ultramarines, but they weren't for me.
I'm gonna arrange an ultramarine army to be posted to you, so then you own one forcefully.
Forcefully. Accept the word Killamane.
It's like, oh!
The codex says so. Accept it.
Actual.
But yeah, so he showed me his stuff, and I was like, these are cool. Like, what are these? And yeah, 40k, they're models, and you can actually play with them. And like, I was like, what? And he gave me like the old school painting boxes that have like 5 Space Marines and had all the paints and the brushes and stuff.
Yeah.
Give me one of those, because he had heaps, and he's like, I don't need this. Like, it's yours. I was like, oh my gosh, you're the best. And yeah, every Christmas present, birthday, I was just like, people are like, what do you want? What do you want, Matt? And I was like, Warhammer. Give me Warhammer. Like, just buy it.
Yes.
I want this tank. I want this thing that looks like a mech from Mech Commander. Like, get me all the things. And played it for up until about high school, I reckon, and then just fell out of love. Discovered World of Warcraft, and that was just like crush all your other hobbies and just dispose of them.
There's a reason they call it Warcraft, right?
Yeah, man. Yep.
Yeah, man.
And then getting back into it, like, finished high school, went to uni, and then a couple of my mates, like, I've always played the Warhammer games, like Dawn of War, and everyone knows that, like, my mates like Matt, he's the Warhammer guy. Like, he likes Warhammer, he likes the games, he has the models. And a few of my friends were like, oh, hey, do you still play it? I was like, oh, like, I don't, but I've still got all my stuff. And like, oh,
yeah.
Do you want to get back into it? I was like, well, I have money now. I can't see why not. Yeah. And that was when they released all the Primaris stuff. And I was like, ooh, like big Space Marines. That's kind of cool. Like, you know? Yeah. And I was like, they look kind of like more realistic instead of stunty little guys.
Yeah. Well, they actually tower over like non-augmented humans.
Yeah, as they should. So I got into that, and then I saw, the Adeptus Custodes, and I was like, ooh, these
Banana
guys.
boys.
Yeah, I like these guys. These guys are good. And I bought a bunch of those, and then a few of my mates were like, hey, we're getting into Age of Sigmar. I was like, isn't that like bad fantasy? And they're like, it was, but it's not anymore. And I was like, okay. I'm like, okay, let's give it a shot. And looking into the model range, oh my gosh, like, phenomenal.
Just the mythic fantasy that they are able to blend into it.
Amazing.
Totally on board. It took me till 3rd edition to finally give in. Like I was kind of piddling around with like reading rules and getting into the meta for second edition, and then third
Yep.
edition dropped, and I'm like, yup.
This is a game system I can get behind.
And just went full balls Iron Jaws, and now I have so many armored pigs.
So good. They're so fast. They're so tough, and they hit like trucks.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, just
they
like
do.
and
They do.
our boys are some of the best animals I've ever encountered in my years of wargaming. Like 10 of them can just tie up whatever.
And like back in AOS too, they hit like trucks too. Get to watch
Yeah,
them
they
ride
did.
them,
They
and
did.
they do work.
Yep.
Yeah,
But,
the whole army does a lot of work, especially with like a couple support characters and your obligatory cabbage.
Yeah. Oh, you've got to have a
Yeah.
cabbage dragon. If you don't, you're not
Oh,
playing
yeah.
Iron Jaws properly, mate.
Yeah, you need to have
No,
one,
absolutely.
at least one, possibly two,
Oh, at least one.
possibly two,
Possibly two. Whatever
Yeah.
floats your boat.
100%. Wall
Yeah.
up.
Like I got into Age
yeah.
of Sigmar in Melbourne first edition, right? Like actually not even first edition, 0.5 when they had the one-page rules.
Yeah.
And that was a silly
Yeah, and
rules.
like
Uh,
rules, points,
Yeah.
shut up.
Yeah. So
just roll dice and have fun, guys.
Yeah, so I was involved in one of the first ever tournaments ever in Melbourne that was organized by one of our fellow hobbyists at my local Games Workshop. And I had an Empire army that I found just in a box. So for that tournament, I spent
so
like
good.
2 months stripping and repainting everything. And I remember I had like I had a really derpy, like very old 3rd edition tiny Carl Franz that was only about this tall, and
Yeah.
Ludwig, and like, oh my gosh, and just a bunch of spearmen, a bunch of crossbowmen, a bunch of handgunners,
Oh, good.
and yeah, it was like insane, and during that match, I was just like constantly like, I don't know, making weird neighing sounds and basically saying like, oh, look at my mustache, kid. Yours hasn't even come in yet, Peach Fuzz. It's like, get wrecked, scrub,
Absolutely.
reroll everything.
The game's come a long way though, hasn't it? Since
Yeah, it has
iOS?
come. It has come
Yeah.
such a long way. And then my second army was when I got back into Warhammer again for round 3. Because after 7th edition going into 8th, I just kind of like had to step back from Warhammer because I was like, I don't like 8th. I don't like 8th.
What was it
And,
about 8th that you didn't like? Because I knew a lot of people were on the fence with it, eh?
Yeah, for me, it was just like they got rid of a lot of tried and true mechanics, like the armor value system of vehicles, which
Yep.
made like vehicles essentially the same as just monstrous creatures, essentially. Also, the simplification of the to hit and to wound tables, and also the condensation of all the special rules, which really meant that like, especially in the beginning, like indexes,
Yeah.
right? Everyone kind of was the same.
It was watered down beer for a little bit there.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
in the indexes, that was
Yeah.
pretty brutal, and it was just like my half turret is almost the same as a captain, but it's just bigger.
Yeah.
It's just what? It's the same as a captain with a jump pack, but bigger.
Yep.
I wonder if that was their way of trying to make it more accessible for new players, and it just backfired. All of the veterans in the game were just, nah, this is not what we're here for, eh?
Yeah.
And like I did like the detachment shenanigans at first, and then they just got ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
I like
my
the idea
gosh.
of being able
Yeah.
to customize your army like that. It reminded me of earlier editions where you could swap out slots and stuff. And I think they fixed that in 9th edition with the way they have like patrol, vanguard, spearhead, battalion.
Yeah.
force organization charts, because it allows you to tailor your army if you want to do like fuck you Terminators, or if you want to have like a more balanced traditional force.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, it was basically like, you get this detachment, and you have to take some really crap units which you don't really want, but you get all this
the
free
detachment
stuff.
thing.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
it is such an obvious like toy commercial, and I'm like, but then there were also,
and that was
but to
like some of them
find,
were just pure money grabs.
yeah, but some of them were like very hard to find. Like, I remember the Tyrion detachments that like some of them that I had, you could only get them if you were in the Black Library monthly subscription.
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
So
and so
I
many
should-
of them were printed in like one issue of White Dwarf, and if you
Yeah.
couldn't
Yeah.
track that down, fuck you.
Yeah, and this is before like the
And
real
that's so
advent
rough,
of
isn't
the
it?
internet. This is before the real advent
Yeah,
of the
and that
internet
was,
and all this stuff.
Mm.
So it's
Like there actually was a time where GW was even more pay to play than it is currently.
there was a time when I
You
rocked
wouldn't
up.
believe it, would you?
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
time when I rocked up to a tournament and I had 5 detachments going on in one army, and the tournament organizer was like, "Let me see your list." And I'm like, "You pre-approved my list. Here's all my things." And it's like, "What the hell? Is this all legal?" It's like, "Yeah, it's Black Library, part of
Yep.
part of Games Workshop."
By
And they're
using
like,
a lot
"But you
of
have two-"
math, it
Yeah.
is legal.
No, it's basically because okay, so Black Library, when they did it right, like they released the Endless Swarm detachment, but the Endless Swarm detachment also got released later on in a Blood of Ball book, but it was called a different thing.
Oh.
So those two
So
had the
same but
exact.
different.
Those two had the
Yeah.
exact, almost the exact same like unit requirements, except for like one unit of goggles or some weird thing like that. And like, so you had 2 detachments that did the same thing. So whenever any of them died, it was like, okay, I got 2 4+ rolls to see if like a unit of like freaking Hormigons came back, and if I got 2 4+, double of them would come back, and it was like,
Oh,
wait, what?
jeez.
Wait, what?
That's
Guys,
filth.
I broke it. I broke Tyranids.
That's just filth, isn't it? Could you do it for the units that came back as well?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
Like endless recycling.
Oh.
yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
So it got to the point where it's just like by the end of like turn 3 or 4, my army was bigger than what it started with. My opponent was like, I'm trapped in my Land Raider and I can't get out. Like,
You
From
can
a
hurt the
narrative
Land
point of view.
Raider, but the Land Raider can only kill 6 of you a turn.
yeah, no, the problem was that he had a squad of 9 Terminators and Mephiston in the Land Raider, but there wasn't enough space for him to disembark out of the Land Raider. So they were out of the
Trash.
game, and it was like,
Swarmed with gaunts. That's great.
and it was like,
wow.
help, I'm trapped. I'm trapped.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's
That's
probably the
amazing.
saddest game I've ever played, where the guy was like, okay, there's nothing I can do. I can't even get out of my corner. You have all the objectives.
Actually,
I'm
on the saddest game ever, did you guys remember the movie Space Marine rules that were printed in a White Dwarf?
Oh, yes.
Years ago?
Yes!
Yes.
I had the joy of playing that list once against 2 other armies,
Yes. It's
and
so
I
good.
fucking decimated them.
Oh,
What was that?
busted. It is busted. I remember, like, as a kid, I was a terrible player. I had no tactical awareness. Strategy was out the window. I
Run
just put
into
my
the
models
middle
on
of the field, shooting your guns in the air.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Aren't these guys Space Marines? Aren't they supposed to like be able to defeat anything and everything without even trying? Nah, not even close, mate. And then when I got that book and I was like, oh, this is cool. This is great. Oh, there's not many models. Hey, that works for me. I don't own many models. Hey, I can run like a full army with like 7 models. Great. And I went down to the local club as a kid, and I'm like, oh, hey guys, like, does anyone want to play a game against me? There's these weird new rules in White Dwarf. I'm like, what? 7 models here? Sure. Dominated. Absolutely dominated. Oh my god, it was filth. I loved it so much. Did anyone play
Why
against
are
my
you
movie Marines
rolling
again?
Assault
No.
6, hitting 5? Cuz.
Oh man! And then when they die, they could explode, chew on a grenade.
Yeah, just like, in death I serve, brother.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, they were so good. They just wouldn't die. And then the character, the dude, was just
Yeah,
like
the
a sub
dude.
hero. The dude gets stuff done. He's the guy that has the cool hair and the sunglasses.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's like, look at my thunder
that's-
hammer. It's like, what
that's
the hell?
super fun.
that's right. He's the guy that has a thunder hammer that's shaped like a fist.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the hell? What? Why is your thunder hammer instant death? Like, what the?
Oh, that was amazing. It was beautiful.
Oh,
It was
that was
beautiful.
insane. Like,
No, that was a fun time. And again, during a very hobby-oriented time of the company. Like
Yep.
that White Dwarf 300 was just all hobby inspiration. Like, remember those conversions for Horus Heresy in there? And like that was some of the first time anyone manifested models representing the Horus Heresy.
yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. And look where we
Crazy
are
now.
now.
We're just
Yeah,
like,
man.
I think they're pushing right now to really push Horus Heresy as like the new thing for Warhammer. So,
Oh, fuck, I hope so.
so that's what I've been hearing a lot of. I'm not super sure how they're supposed to do that, considering Horus Heresy's like big points level, big armies, big vehicles, and big money.
Like,
so it's like, how the
a
hell?
little piddle and shit match.
Yeah, like we had a conversation with Lex recently. He's a big part of the Horus Heresy community. And it's like, yeah, infantry is king, and it's just like 20 like tactical marines. That's just part of the parcel, and they can just be wiped out.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy, eh?
That's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And it really gives that grand sense of like just like endless warfare when you have that many bodies and that many tanks and that many walkers on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is that epic scale of a battle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah,
in a way,
absolutely.
Warhammer should be, but what gamers go for 5 hours if every
Yeah.
game was that big.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like there ain't nothing wrong with a 750 point 45 minute like throwdown. They're a great time. Sometimes you want to take a whole weekend, right?
Yeah.
And that's it.
Throw down with 5 of your buds, 3-on-3, go.
Just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a good time.
Just be in the basement. Just be like, yep, we're playing the weekend here. Let's go.
Yeah. It's funny. Like, I've always been. Initially, I was just into the hobby just because I enjoyed it, just for a bit of fun. And then as sort of a few more people came and got involved, we became quite competitive in AOS. And, like, I just didn't have the time to play heaps and, know my rules inside out. And I was like, oh, look, I'll give it a shot. And then, like, one of my mates won the Vic GT with his Seraphon army and absolutely dominated it. Yeah, so good. And like, did really, really well. And he's retired now because, he's just like, no, I've won a GT. Like, I'm good. I'm like, oh, fair enough, man.
Yeah.
I retired undefeated, hanging up my boxing gloves. Yeah.
So good. And I'm like, look, fair enough. And, but now, like, coming over to New Zealand, my commitment to the hobby, because I'm only supposed to be here for 12 months, my commitment was like, I'm going to bring over my Lumineth, I'm going to paint it. I'm not going to play any games because I'm probably not going to get into any clubs. I'll just set up the desk, get through it, and then I'll come back to Australia and it'll be beautiful and all painted.
Yep.
Within my first week of being here, I managed to find a local AOS group, and
then
I've been playing.
Nice.
Oh man, I've been playing more than I've been painting, and I'm loving it though. And it's gone from like, hey, let's play some 2K games to who wants to play Path to Glory. I'm like, I've never played Path to Glory in my life. Ever.
And
always thought it was like rubbish
because it like takes all the interesting note keeping of Necromunda and allows you to like keep track of your dudes and the growth of your warband. And then you work up to a 2,000 point beat your ass army. Yeah.
Oh, it's bizarre. And like, it's funny though, like, I didn't realize, because like, I haven't read through the rules fully, and I'm just sort of going on what the group are telling me, because there's a couple of guys that are like, I know Path to Glory inside and out. I'm like, yep, cool. What do we do? Like,
Yeah,
make an
some
army,
guys are
600
rule
points.
dudes.
Sweet. Yeah, then look, it's great because I don't have to read the rules myself,
Yeah.
And made my army, Cathala, some Wardens, Sentinels. Yep, sweet, no worries. Blade Lords, easy. And then played it, got absolutely stomped. I was like, yep, cool. Played another game the following week, got absolutely stomped. I'm like, hey, look, it's fine. I don't mind. I'm having fun. And then they're like, you realize you don't have to have battle line. I was like, you're joking. I was like, why didn't you tell me this at the start? I could have been running something so much filthier. So anyway, bought a couple of different units, tried something different, and they're like, oh, you can't do this. I was like, oh, no. So chopping and changing my list like on the fly just to make sure it's viable, but having so much fun doing it. Like, forget everything you know about list building in Warhammer, because Path to Glory throws that out the window and gives you so many new mechanics. I love it, but so confusing at times.
Yeah, very complex, especially when you start upgrading your heroes and stuff, and like granting veteran abilities to squads. Yeah.
And then and like remembering all the extra rules, like the veteran abilities.
Yes,
like
the veteran abilities. Oh,
like
or
so good.
Or the old wounds and stuff. Like remembering that one of your dude has -1 initiative because someone gibbled his leg.
Oh, we played a game against a guy. We did a 2v2, and I had Severeth charge the Loon Shrine, and he had like a little 4-wound cave shaman or something hiding in there. And Severeth charged, and he just like slayed this guy, just ruined his day. And he rolled on the damage table at the end, and he got -3 wounds for his next battle for this guy.
Oh,
so he's a 4-wound hero that starts on 1. Yeah. The poor thing. Oh, like he was garrisoned. He's probably going to have to be garrisoned. He's like, oh man, this poor guy's like weak as anyway. He's not having a good time.
Yeah.
But I love that. And like even how you can pimp out other heroes too. It's crazy. So good.
And the chance for conversion, because you can like, I don't know about you, but I like to customize my dudes, especially on small scale.
Yeah.
So like, just little weapon swaps or like additions of armors or trophies from people you've beaten the shit out of. Yeah, it just kind of adds that character to that force, and that continues on when you play it in just full fat AOS.
And that's it. And then you can have these little characters with these little conversions. You're like, hey, like I got this when I beat this guy. So cool.
Yeah, and it also differentiates from other people, like other people's mega boss or whatever.
So I remember my first PTG battle was I for some reason was like, okay, I want Reikenor, the Grimhaler, and I'm like, because he's like the freaking cheapest ever model, because he's like he's in the start box, right? He's one of those easy to build kits, right? And it's like damn cheap.
Yeah, he's like 50 bones for this big centerpiece.
I was like, that guy, and I was like, okay, give me Spirit Hosts, and it's like 9 Spirit Hosts and Reikenor, just like that in my first PTG battle. Ooh. And the guy on the other end was like, what the hell?
So good.
And it's like, what the hell? And eventually, like, Reikenor had like one of the veteran abilities where he was able to like he was able to get like extra attacks on his scythe. For him, that's really big because his scythe only does like he only has 3 attacks. So if he gets an extra attack, it's like, whoa, what the hell?
Mate, it's like cashing in with those extra attacks.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh, I'm a better spellcaster than most of you. Like, get down there.
Yes.
I deny you. Stop that.
Dead zombie.
Join us.
Yeah, and like it's just like I remember I played with now GW HQ, one of the GW community HQ heads, Richard Packer in Path to Glory, and he brought like a witch hunter's army, like a force to like his Path to Glory, and he had like handgunners, he had like witch hunters, he had priests, he had like celestial wizards, and it was like oh okay, it was like It's like a real like more
Sorry.
time like theme,
Ghosts.
and it was like he was having such a hard time with them, just going like, oh, like his celestial wizards were having such a hard time, stopping the casting, and he tried to cast, and I just went like, nope, I'm gonna blow out one of my candles,
Not
and like,
happening.
nope, not happening.
I love the logic. Like, oh, you really want that spell? Nah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Nah.
Yep, got 2 more candles to go. It's like, what?
It's magical. It's mythic fantasy.
effing
Anything
lovely.
goes.
Oh my god, yeah. So I really love
Yeah.
how like Age of Sigmar really captured that like super high fantasy, mythical, like Age of Heroes like fantasy. Like,
Yes.
whereas
And like monsters beyond monsters.
yeah,
Yes.
Like
I
not
think-
your typical Tolkien D&D like staple of monsters. They're there and they're altered a little bit, but then you have just like bat shittery everywhere, like flying
That's the
sharp
beauty of it, though.
ballistas.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's so unreal
Dwarves
because
that are on fire and refuse to wear pants.
they're like,
Because
no,
why not?
the pants make me slower. They give me less armor.
That's right. And in the realm of fire, it's hot, guys.
It's
Yeah,
hard.
it's sweaty down here. You
Like,
don't want swass.
So it's
Nah.
I think Age of Sigmar has come a long way where it's like it's a real like opposite, like it's a polar opposite to Warhammer 40,000 or even like Lord of the Rings, Battle for Middle Earth,
Yeah, it is.
because like the Age of Heroes for them has already passed like long ago, and right now it's like everything's in a real state of decline, and like things are shit bad, and like everything's just like
Yeah,
going from
everything's
bad to
crumbling
worse.
around the ruins of a greater ancient civilization. Where
Yeah,
Age of Sigmar, you have growth, you have innovation. I think the way they've set out the cosmology is brilliant.
yeah.
Like it's super unique. You can wrap your head around it like in a very abstract way, and there's no like reason why people from different regions can't interact.
Yeah.
And there's enough
Um,
scope for people to customize their armies within that as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
so much freedom of, all right, my army's going to be from this realm and they look like this for this reason.
Yeah,
Like 40k has that
my-
because it's obviously space and it's just, two
Yeah,
redacted
just
chapters. You
infinite,
can be that
and,
one, sure.
Like my Uruks are from Garan rather than Gur, so I have like lush, like jungle bases for them with palm trees and flowers and vines, and they're all very
Perfect.
brightly colored.
Love
So it's like tropical orcs.
it. Love
Whereas
it.
my
And
Night
like-
Legally
Haunts.
distinct Uruks.
So my Night Haunts were inspired by a little bit of the Legions of Nagash lore about how he created the Night Haunts and stuff like that, like suffering spirits, and also from from a movie. There was a horror movie done by Guillermo del Toro, where it was like he had like red ghosts. So
Yeah, right.
yeah.
It was the Ghost movie with Tom Hiddleston, right?
Yeah. So I took a lot of
Yeah,
inspiration
something
for that.
Crimson
where-
Keep or Crimson Manor or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was freaking awesome. So I took a lot of inspiration for that. So I made all my night halls like red, but the cloaks were like an off-white with like burnt edges, and everything was like
that's cool.
pools of blood and like slime of like there was. I did the whole Yoo-hoo thing of like slimes of blood and strands of blood everywhere coming out of the ground, where like they look like
So good.
they're not meant to be
Bruised
having a
awesome.
fun time. They're not meant to be having a fun time. This is not a natural state to be in. This is not Magusta. This is not cool.
So good. So good.
So
But isn't it great that you can do that with the hobby? Oh, I love it.
yeah.
I love it so much.
So I
Like,
remember
the
I had-
limits are the color wheel and your imagination.
like
That's
I had
it.
that
And even like,
I had that army for the shop, where I had that army in the shop, and I would play it sometimes with people, right? And like kids would come in and they would get freaked out by it, and it's like, what the hell? Like, it's too scary for me.
It's like, all right, it's like, Bill, we got to put this aside. The kids don't want to come in here anymore, man.
You got to put that on the top shelf above that 4'6" sight line.
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
Put it above
But-
all the cute, cuddly squigs.
Yeah. But again, like they've set up the universe now. They've really developed it, and I'm really proud to say, like, Age of Sigmar is a fantastic game with something more to offer, something different to offer than Warhammer 40,000.
Yeah.
Also, the community I find to be much more positive, much more collective, willing to kind of pool and help each other out. Like I've never felt like someone's trying to swindle me in a trade for AOS gear. It's just like, hey, I got this shit I don't want. You got shit I want. You want trade? Like, dope. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
People are pretty
and
good,
it's just easy, and people just want to have a good time. Where 40K is so much more like
monetary.
Like people
Seems
break
more
down
competitive,
like, and also like from like a trading or selling point of view, it's like, well, retail is 55, and man, you're like,
Yeah. Yep.
dude, you fucking painted them. I'll give you $30.
These are pro painted though. At least
Yeah,
three
great.
times as
And I'm
much.
gonna pro strip them.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of like, yeah, so differences in the community, differences in like lore, and differences in like how the game is meant to be portrayed and played. Again, like I think there's competitive aspects of both games, but it seems like
Very
Age of
much
Sigmar-
Oh,
so.
hugely.
Yeah, Age of
Hugely.
Sigmar seems to be leading towards a more less competitive aspect, which is more casual. But,
Or
like-
more, I'd say, friendly competitive. Because I've never
Yeah.
seen like even the hardest fought AOS game that didn't end in a bunch of hugs or high fives.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
find that
Right?
too sometimes.
Like
yeah,
everyone's like, "Fuck yeah, that was amazing."
Whereas, like,
Where like
Yeah.
you'll get like sulky broods sometimes at the 40K tables.
like, hey, I just
Because
had a
they've
game.
got the best list and they get done, and it's like,
Yeah,
well,
they just get fucking dunked on with their net list.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's cu-
Yep.
Yeah.
So I recently had a game in 40K where I was playing a very much like almost all monsters list, like the Crusher, Stampede, Tyrannus list, where like a bunch of monsters. So
yeah,
like I knew my opponent was quite experienced and he really wanted to win. I don't know why, but he has a thing with me where he's like, I've got to prove that I can win against you. So I
classic.
Gotta fuck you up.
yeah, and he's like, I played very cagey and very, very methodically then. And it was just like our first 2 turns of just figuring out, just shooting some things and willing him down, right? And by the third turn, when he came in very, 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 very underperforming. Just because of those like 2 turns
Like,
where I'm just like, kind of
timid?
just. No, like he just didn't have enough left to really like
Yeah.
smack in as hard as he thought. And because everything is big monsters, like most of my units
you
are
Yeah.
like, so you
have
need to
very
kill them.
selective fire and then commit to getting rid of those targets
Yeah.
in a threat priority kind of way. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
for him,
that's
it
it.
was like he was trying to deal with multiple different threats, but I'm just absorbing everything and going like, all right, cool. It doesn't really matter to me because I've got more wounds to spare than you do. And by the third
Well, and that's
turn,
it.
by the third turn, it was just like, okay, now because you're so close to me, now I get to pick
Yep.
when and where I choose to fight, and just I think
And
like,
you're
in
still
that-
effectively full strength if you haven't lost big models, eh?
Yeah.
You can't like whittle them down slowly. You've got to target priority, take them down, or have something that makes them useless.
Yeah, like in 40K,
Yeah.
like big models are like big things and they're really, really devastating. So like
Yeah.
some of the big models are
Yep.
super ultra fast as well, and they'll go over the units and they'll be like, I remember one of my flying like kind of just throwaway big monsters just went around and just like hit his sorcerer, and that was a really big part of his army. And he essentially did like a flying headbutt and did like 6 mortal wounds to him. And that's what, like, he's terrible in melee. His only purpose in life is to move 30 inches and go behind and kill a character with that flying headbutt. That's it.
And if he kills something else, gravy.
Yeah. Yep. And it's just like, what the... He was like, looking at me like, what the hell? 6 mortal wounds. Just like he does nothing he could do about it. It's just like, okay. He's dead.
Puff of blood. As the creature stands up and it's just like red-faced.
Yeah. It's just like a fine mist of gazpacho.
Yeah, so you can imagine this creature. This creature is like 30-inch movement, so it's going at like Mach 2, and he's just like coming out of the sky, just going like,
face first, literally.
Yeah. That's freaking awesome. Were there any other like specialist GW or non-GW games you dabbled with, messed around with, or played?
Oh, my heart goes out to Warhammer Underworlds, Like, that pre-AOS competitively, that was my jam. Like, I started AOS, had a Sylvaneth army because, I mean, Tree Lords, Colonel Hunters, Alariel, like everything, Drychart, like everything looks so good. And I was like, you know what, like they're great, but Warhammer Underworlds was so much easier to actually put in competitive time. I didn't have to spend hours painting an army. I didn't have to be list building and trialing.
4 to 6 dudes, yeah.
That's it. I could slap a deck of cards together and go, that doesn't work. And this was, I reckon I started when it was season 2 in Night Vault.
Yep.
Just, deep dived right in, started buying all of the expansions. Because, look, at the end of the day, it's like, I love the models too. Like,
the warbands are head and shoulders above so much stuff.
Amazing.
They're all individual sculpts. And like,
but they are. And like, they all just look the part for what they're trying to portray. And after season 2, like, I was sort of started off as a bit of a noob. The local scene, there was a couple of guys who were just like brilliant. And then I sort of really got the hang of it, figured out like warbands that I actually liked. Season 3, Beastgrave hit, and I was like, this is my time to shine, baby, let's do it. And started getting really competitive, playing tournaments, like dominating. Me and one of my best mates, he was up there with me. He's like, he's like an ex Magic the Gathering tournament player. So when he's like, "Oh, give me Warhammer with cards," I'm in.
Deck building and like,
Yep. So I had the ghouls, so I was just objective holding, and he was playing Mollog, and he was just people squashing. So that was amazing. So our doubles tournament, I think at the end of the day, even before we finished our final game, we figured out that the enemy team in the final game for the day needed like to beat us like 42 glory to nothing to tie with us. And I was like, man, like they can't do that. Like my deck is built just to sit here, and you just come in and squash when they're trying to stop me from sitting here. And he's like, we're gonna win. Like, I don't want to say that, but we're gonna win.
We're gonna win.
Yeah.
And it was it's just like a good, fast-paced game. So many like really good, detailed mechanics. And to be fair, at the time, like some of them were a bit, you had to read the FAQs. And there was a lot of stuff like reactions in themselves could happen all over the shop. And like, there was arguments and disagreements about, well, my reaction does this and yours comes just after it, so I get to do this. But I kind of loved that about the game as well, because I've got 4 models. I can actually put time into researching how these mechanics actually interact,
Yeah.
And then from a hobby side too, like, so many warbands just to play with, like paint. Let's just bust this out and see what happens. Oh, it looks crap. Put it on the shelf.
Oh yeah,
that was a good experiment.
The reason I started a Soulblight army is I picked up the Crimson Court and went, yup.
So spicy. aren't
Yep.
they?
Yeah, killer
been
pigs.
So I've been thinking about like starting up a Warhammer Underworlds in my local game shop because like Warhammer Underworlds and Age of Sigmar is like criminally like underplayed there. It's all Warhammer 40,000. And I'm just like,
Oh, that's a shame, man.
it's just
Such a shame.
not there. And it's just like,
Yep.
so I got into it during Beastgrave and like Hrothgar just came out, so I got into I got
Crop
Hrothgar.
Daddy.
Yeah, and I started winning a lot in my shop, so I started going to a lot of tournaments and I just like started owning things.
Yeah.
And then the second wave came out where it was like the witch elves. So
Yep.
back then, like I was kind of playing around with like the idea of like maybe I could do Hrothgar but combo decks because I think that would work really well.
No.
But then once the witch elves came out, it had all the combo cards which I needed to churn to go into one person because that warband is really all about like you buff up Hrothgar, it's unstoppable, and it's like he's just churning it out. And like I remember in one time like he had 5 combo cards on him and just went like, all right, like okay, I'm gonna punch you, reaction, it's a combo, but bam, I hit you, boom, okay, it's not dead yet, okay, next attack, boom, okay, you're still not dead, Molog, okay, boom, okay, combo again, let's go.
Oh, I love it. The combo cards were such a good mechanic, and I feel like the Daughters of Cain warband, like they were built around it, but I feel like they were slightly lacking because they never really dominated in the way that they should have. Like they had all these combo cards that were released with all these other packs, and there was no warband that really thrived on it. And then they came out at the end, and they kind of thrived, but they just didn't have that next level synergy with the mechanic to really make it work. And it's a bit gutting because like the one model that's got like the whip and the shield, she's like jumping over the rock. Like in what is the the game mode they released, the mini game where you have one model and you just keep stacking upgrades on it?
Death Arena of Death, something like that.
Arena Mortis.
Yes. Arena Mortis.
Mortis, thank you.
She was a beast in that. Like she only had 2 wounds, but when you die, you come back and you get an upgrade, and you just deck her out with all of these combos. And she has innate combo on her card already, so she's like, "I'm gonna hit you with a combo." She starts with 2 free upgrades. You're like, "All right, I'm gonna bust out this combo where when you attack me, I get to react and attack you first, and that attack has combo. Then I get to use my combo attack after. Then you can try and hit me if you're not dead."
Yeah. Yeah, it's so awesome. Like so Underworld's really scratched my itch around there. Then I got into the Moloch, the Crushers, the big Uruk brutes.
Yes,
and that was just such a fun. That was a fun warband where just like I just went up in a group of 3 in a sort of like weird formation, loose formation of 3, and just went like, "Hey, you want to charge one of them? Go for it." I mean, they've got the wounds to spare.
Yep, if you can kill one in the first round, good luck.
Yeah, it's good luck, and also you've got to deal with 2 of them next round, and they're probably going to deal a lot more damage to you than you can to them.
Like they feel like a fully decked out warband at the start of the game. Like 5 wounds, like they don't move fast, they hit hard enough, and then you start throwing a couple of ploys and upgrades in there, and they just start to mince. Like they're not very mobile, and that's how you can play against them. But there were so many cards at the time where you could be like, I'm going to push them like 500 hexes, and they're in your face anyway. Tough.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I did with Hrothgar.
Y'all are making me want to actually play Underworlds with all the warbands I bought. I got the Orc Brutes, the Iron Boys, or the Iron Boys, sorry. The Vampires.
Yes.
The Beastmen, and I think that's it.
But
as the expert, which should I start with?
Oof. To be honest with you, like, let's go back a moment, and I'll get to the warband that you should pick first. There's, knowing that, Bill, you want to like introduce it to your local scene. there's a lot of people, like I used to swear by the championship format, which is all the cards that have been released for the current season and last season at any game, but you had to buy every expansion box and you
Yep.
had to keep up with the releases even if you didn't want to buy the box. And for me at the time, I was buying all the boxes anyway because I loved the models, I wanted to paint experiment on them, and I wanted the cards too, so it was a win-win.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
if you're introducing new people to it, and you're like, hey, like, come and join me for a game. Buy your expansion that you want to, play with. Like, yeah, cool. And they're like, all right, now buy 10 others so you can actually play. And they're like, nah, thanks. And it's a hard pill to swallow, you know?
Yep.
Well, didn't they release a new format that kind of minimizes that?
Yeah. So the Rivals format attempted to, but the community has pushed for a Rivals Plus format. And effectively what that is you get your warband and you use the warband specific cards, but you can add one of the universal decks to chop and change it. So
So
you
it's
take out the
still
whole
a CPG. It's just somewhat more limited in how much mixing and matching you can do.
That's right. So they've got like the Essentials deck box, which is all of these just pretty basic cards, but they cookie cutter cards. You know, push 1 hex, +1 to your damage, all that sort of stuff. And you can chop out any of the cards from the faction that you don't want and throw these ones in. Or they've got some more niche universal sets, which, you know, I think one of the recent ones was like illusion upgrades, where normally you have to pay to upgrade, whereas these ones you don't have to pay at all. You just like chuck it on and have a good time. But because it's an illusion upgrade, it disappears at the end of the round.
Yeah.
So it's short-term gain, but that's about it. So,
but enough to like.
Yeah, depending on the warband you're playing, that might be enough to go, all right, first turn, you know, you go, all right, my turn, I'm going to upgrade. I'm going to hit you like a ton of bricks and get that early game lead, and I don't need these upgrades to last, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And, like, to be fair, for me in the local community in where I'm from in Ballarat, a couple of times a year we'd have like at this league and we'd play every week and we'd love it and we'd play championship. And then COVID hit, as it has everywhere around the world, you know, and we just didn't play. We couldn't play the regular games, or we'd have games lined up and then we'd get locked down, and it was just, it sucked. And the passion for buying all these expansions for me personally was drifting away, and I was getting into my Lumineth again, and I was like, I want to paint these guys. Like, you know, these guys are going to stick around for a while. And since the new Harrow Deep, yeah, exactly. And since the new Harrow Deep release, like, I haven't bought it, and I haven't bought the expansions for it yet.
None of the games.
But I've heard so many people saying Rivals Plus is the way to go. You don't need that heavy investment. And that's why when I moved to New Zealand, I'm like, all right, I'm going to bring my little Lumineth warband, going to bring the faction cards, and I'll bring just one of the little expansion boxes, the little universal packs, and I'm good. If people want to play it, great. That's all I need, you know? You don't need to bring how many kgs of cards over.
And like be like flopping your decks between games and shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
very quickly.
But your stately advice, sir. Where should I start? Really big orcs, regular orcs, or vampires? Or beastmen?
Okay. Regular orcs, nah, because the big orcs are like them, but next level. They've eaten one and they've all gotten bigger, right? That's what you want. You want some
and
big,
the
spicy
models
boys.
are freaking killer.
Yep. Beastmen, like AOS, they're sort of like, let's keep them at the back for the moment until a new book comes out and they're busted. Let's just wait. So then you got your Crimson Court vampires or your big boys. Crimson Court, my opinion is that they're a really complex, difficult warband to play well, because they effectively have two. Normally, most warbands you inspire, you get better stats, and things are looking great for the rest of the game. Someone might play a card to uninspire you, but it's pretty rare. Whereas them, they inspire, and then you can do things with certain tokens through uninspire, and they have benefits both ways. So you've got to figure out what. They're really complex. Like, I
much more
like
nuanced on like how you can affect the game.
Yes.
Yeah, they're
Whereas,
not like. Go on with your last one.
yeah. Yeah, whereas the brutes, like, if you're into get stick, smash skull, scream victory,
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
my middle name is Crump.
so
Yeah.
there you go, man. Like, I feel like that's answered the question for you. Like, go with
Right
Yeah.
them.
on.
Yep. Get yourself one of the universal packs and just throw down with anyone who's keen about it. Let's roll some dice.
Yeah,
Let's play some cards.
because I picked up Beastgrave, I have that universal pack as well as the Beastman and Goat Elves, who unfortunately I lost half of.
Oh, the Kernothi. I want them to
Yeah,
come to AOS. I want a full faction. Bring in Orion, bring in
freaking
Kernoth,
bad,
something.
but like some sort of
Yes.
like allied detachment or something of little goat and centaur men. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
he's
Or
so
even
freaking
just
tight.
like, even just be like, hey guys, like, here's Sylvaneth, here's Kernothi, one book. How do you like it?
One book. Look, we
Yeah,
have
that's what
Yeah.
we want.
Just get a new
and
book. Honestly,
O'Brien.
okay. So
Yeah.
one of the things about Age of Sigmar I really don't like is the constant FAQs, which is very prevalent in 440k. But like
Yeah.
the Sylvaneth have had it really rough with their FAQs, especially for the
Oh,
trees. And it's like
they're right
every
here,
other
man. They're right here.
every other month they've got an FAQ for their trees, and I'm like, what's up with that? Can we get a consensus on how the trees work, please?
Like, they're
Oh,
fucking
man.
trees.
I know.
Yeah,
How confusing can trees actually be? Well,
like
Games Workshop
Apparently,
have made them so confusing.
they're like a paragraph long now, and there's every
Oh,
single word in that paragraph is different than what's in the battle tome. I'm like, this battle tome was useless, and it's a core mechanic in that faction, and like I can't play this.
yeah.
Like, what's going on?
And like they were never an easy faction to play anyway. Oh,
Yeah,
okay, I take that back. When you were able to run a Frostheart Phoenix and just a butt ton of Dryads, that was just cookie cutter, like just shred.
yeah.
It's fine.
yeah,
Have
but
a
you
good time.
can't do that anymore because the Frosthouse
I
Phoenix
know.
is rolled into Free Peoples now, and now Free Peoples are just like,
Yeah.
I'm the OG now, and I'm the best because I can bring everyone on there.
Oh, I mean, it's
You
kind
want
of
dwarf
ironic.
tank elves? We got dwarf tank elves.
Yeah, or
Well, yeah.
like, hey, you want Sylvaneth and humans? It's better than Sylvaneth by itself. Come to the Living City, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
It's sad. It's sad, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, nah, Sylvaneth, like they were my first AOS love, and like I own so much. Like I own everything. I I have enough Kernoth hunters to run a full 2K Kernoths with bows list, and then like a couple of tree revenants just for battle line, and that's it.
Yeah.
And like I
That sounds like a ton of fun to play with my no shooting, no magic orcs. So it's just like,
charge me. Let's see what happens.
yeah. You better kill enough of me before I get up to you.
Yep. Well, I played the
Yep.
last game I played with my Sylvaneth was just like a friendly game against one of my mates. This is the guy that won the Vic GT. So anytime I play him, I'm like, oh, here we go. I'm in for a rough time. And he was running. He's always loved goblins. He loves the underdogs, and he was running some goblin troll, just bizarre list. We were all just running bizarre lists. It was a good time. And what he did is he teleported. I had this big bunker because I was running the artifact that made me re-roll all of my hit rolls for missile weapons. So I was like, all right, have a bubble of, I think it was 24 Kernoths with the one hero in the middle in a tree so you can't see him, and just shoot for days, see what happens. And what he did is, we're playing objectives. Playing objectives. He put 60 grots in like this ring around me so I couldn't get out. And I was like, that's fine. And I just proceeded to shoot everything that was behind them. He's like, but you're not getting objectives. I'm like, but this is great. Like, you're removing models from the table, left, right, and center. I'm rolling dice. I'm having fun. Ended up finishing the game at turn 3, and he had nothing left on the table. He was dominating me in victory points. And I was like, good game. He's like, but you lost. I'm like, I had so much fun, though. So much fun.
Yeah, but I killed you to a man, bitch.
Yeah. I killed you dead. Killed you dead. This firewood hits back, man.
That's
Yeah.
freaking fantastic.
So
I love 'em.
Well, love your attitude, love your enthusiasm for all things hobby, especially AOS and its Splinter games. Like, that's really, really rad. I guess
It's good
that
to get into a
leads
lot
us
of different
into
things, isn't
our.
it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I guess that leads us into our final question of the evening, or our little prompt.
Yes,
What's
our
it
final
that
question. Wow, okay.
worries you or fills you with
Yeah.
concern about the current state and future of the hobbies as you see them develop?
But we're still getting strong. It's
Oh,
getting strong right now.
biggest worry.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, look, I just want. I feel like Games Workshop have got so much in reserve for the release schedule, right?
Mhm.
And I've been loving, like, even with like the Eldari release, love me some space elves. Like, as a kid, I owned like a few metal models, just loved them. But I feel like the pacing of all these releases has been really. It's been it's business minded. They're making money. I get that. They've got to make money. But I do worry that people want more and more and more for a business. How can they continue to release more and more without people losing that drive? Do you know
Yeah,
what I
that
mean?
quantity of like that
Yeah.
that kid on Christmas excitement when their new faction book
Yep.
drops.
And like, you look at, say, for example, like the Eldari versus Chaos Battle Box release, and I don't think that sold out. Like, I know so many people that were so keen on it because new Eldar models, finally, like, here we are,
Yeah.
and there's still boxes on shelves. So, had they hyped it up here too soon, or I just don't want to
Or
see the hobby
yeah.
taken away because they're not making enough money from aiming too
And
high.
I would argue the starter sets are slowly becoming prohibitive in price for starter sets.
Yeah.
Like, the idea is GW doesn't make as much scratch on that box, like per unit, but you
Yep.
got your hooks in.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's what's going to bring you back for those $60 boxes of Terminators and your
Yep.
yeah, and all your rules expansions and your merch and your posters and your hey dilly.
That's
Yeah.
it. I just hope that
Yeah.
greed doesn't get the better of the community,
Yes.
because if they do get greedy, the community will look for alternatives. Like, you look at 3D printing, man, that's
Yeah.
huge, and it's only getting higher and higher quality. Like, I was again played Path to Glory with a couple of guys the other night, and one of them was running like the Yeti sculpts, right?
Oh
He
my
had some of the
god.
OG ones, but he printed some of these new ones just from some
That just
designer
like
online.
looks so much better.
And they were like jumping over something. They looked wicked. And then he printed off some of these like frost saber wolf looking things, and they were tight. Like, I just hope that they don't keep stuff in reserve and lose out on that. Do you know what I mean? But then
and
I get,
drive
from a
more
business
and
point
more
of
of
view,
the
you don't want to.
market.
Yeah, from a business point of view, though, you don't want to put everything out and not have sales because people are like, oh, I'll get this and wait for that later. Like, it's a hard call, isn't it? So I just
Yeah.
No,
want
it
to
is.
see the hobby
It is.
thrive.
Yeah.
And Bill,
Yeah,
being in
and
Australia and New
continue to
Zealand, it
grow.
is so expensive, eh?
Oh my
Yeah, I
god.
keep hearing that. Like, you poor bastards.
Like,
Canada got it bad.
Okay.
Because our
So that
exchange
box of
rate
Terminators
versus the
that's 60
U.S.
bucks for you
exchange rate
guys is
is
about
bullshit.
95 in Australia right
You
now.
guys got it like so fucking bad.
Yep.
Like, I've been
It's
keeping
rough.
up with Australian
It's rough
prices.
down here, man.
It's so bad. It's like almost $100 for that like Terminator squad right now.
Oh,
It's
it's
like,
ridiculous.
it's
Although we
No, that's
avoided
not
the
right.
latest price
That is
increase, which was
not
a
right.
benefit.
yeah, but we're still like there. I mean, like $90 for 5 Terminators. Come on, man.
I know. Like, catch up, rest of the world. We're waiting for you.
Yeah, we're waiting for
It
you.
will repay. It will repay.
Oh.
Oh,
So yeah,
man.
as long as they can do things to keep the hobbyists and the community alive and strong without just capitalizing on greed and pushing people into either other systems or even just alternative models, I think that's my biggest worry.
Yeah.
That's what I don't want to see
Yeah.
happen. I love the community. And to be fair, I love G-Dub's models. Their sculpts, mwah, like they are
Yeah,
beautiful.
9 times out of 10, chef's kiss.
And they're
Very,
dainty.
very few other manufacturers or official manufacturers hit that same bar. Like, Marvel Crisis Protocol is unreal.
Yeah.
Their
Yeah.
minis are just stupid. But the price point is more prohibitive than fucking Games Workshop because it's $40 for 2 dudes.
Yeah.
And that's
and the
it's not
worst
okay.
thing about it is that the Marvel Price Protocols, I think we've touched on this before, Molly, like, when they come out of the box, they don't look very good.
No,
They're one of those
with
models.
a little bit of love and a lot of work, they look mwah.
Yeah, so it's only when you put that first
Hulkbuster
primer
model,
on that
so
model
good.
do they actually look like, holy shit, I paid like a good dollar for this model.
Yeah, this was
But-
worth it.
But like out the box, they look like crap.
Oh, it's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, like okay,
Yeah.
so one of the gripes I had while working with GW is that like I felt like the release schedule was going about it too quickly. It was too much. Like how the hell am I supposed to get people hyped up every week?
All the time.
It's like you can't be hyped up every week.
Like,
That's
let
insane.
it settle.
Yeah, but and isn't that the dilemma though? Like some people, like myself, feel like there's too much, but other people would be like, there's not enough. Like,
Yeah, especially if
It's-
their faction are somewhat underserved.
So I think
and that's the thing, isn't it? Bloody Primaris Lieutenant number 237.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Ideneth Deepkin are sitting on the same pile of shit they have been since they were released.
hey,
Well, they've
Tyranid-
been
And then Lumineth
captain
come out.
shirtless.
Oh man, Lumineth come out, and then they come out again with more stuff. It's like, hey guys,
Yeah.
it's cracking.
Yeah, that double codex in 1 year, that rubbed me the wrong way.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
so
and
weird.
I get that COVID affected it, but
Yeah, but I would have
soon.
delayed the entire release to just do it as one big.
yep. But they had to
I
make
think
their
that
money, man.
would have been a much better idea.
Yeah, that double
Yeah.
release for Lumineth was so weird, especially with the Hedonites of Slanesh.
Mm-hmm.
Where's their adult release? Like they had one release where it was like 4 models. That was about it. And it's meant to be a faction
Pretty much,
revamp. Where it's like Mortal Slanesh.
Yeah.
It's like, where's the rest of them?
Non-existent. Where's the rest? I mean, to be fair though, if they were to do a third wave of Lumineth releases, I would not be mad.
Depending
I mean,
on
yeah.
the aesthetics they went with it and the kind of interesting bits of Lumineth lore they dipped into, because they've set groundwork for a really interesting, diverse faction.
Yeah, man, I'm so keen
Yeah,
on
man.
big elephant, hippo, tank, river, temple things, angels from the sky. Tyrion, he's coming, gonna get you.
Yeah.
Chariots,
Yeah.
just give me the works, baby. I want it all.
Yeah, give me
Sword Masters
everything
of Hoeth.
Wolfman Thomas.
Oh
Like,
man,
Again, it's like the whole thing. Like I was telling the guys when the first 2 Lumineth Realms released, right? So these are Teclis boys. So they're like your elven Amish people that have got like kind of like.
Yeah.
Whereas like Tyrion, when he eventually comes out, he's supposed to be the actual battle boys. So that's when you're gonna get your
Yeah, man.
White Lions, your Sword Masters of Hoeth, your actual like military arm, because he's all about the martial prowess, and Tyrion's all about the hippy dippy like in the wizard tower. Like, get out there, nerd!
man.
learn some
Interesting.
crap.
It's interesting though, because like Lumineth currently are a scalpel army, like death by 1,000 cuts. You know, you've got to play your units right. Like you can't just throw Dawn Riders into anything and expect things to be
no.
For them to like break through. They're not Chaos Knights.
Like
they're a 5-turn army. That's what
I've seen Dawn Riders struggle to break through, like you know, just like my weird like ghost shackle people, just like the just I'm like,
even when they've got like an extra 100 attacks because you only got 1 wound per model, they still like, just can't dish it out.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Gentlemen, I hate to interrupt. Can we pause for a moment? I badly need to pee.
All right, we'll do one pause. Okay, pee break. Okay, bam, we're back. We are back from our pee break. Pee break. Oh,
good pee break. Just what we need today.
Oddly enough, the drunkest person here doesn't need the pee break. Okay, whatever.
Hey man, what's that? I blend the Monster Energy drink, followed by the Coke Zero, followed by the coffee. Keep in mind, it's the middle of the fucking night for me right now.
It should be the morning.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh god, what goddamn time? It's 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, no.
This is how much I love wargaming, everyone.
Oh, yeah. You bloody ripper, mate. Love it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I thought it was like awake time, like 7, maybe 8
it's not awake time.
Oh, you are.
No, where I am, it's like 5:20.
It's crunch at o'clock. If I go on a walk right now, it's going to be a bad time.
You're not coming back, eh?
Well, I'll come back with a really cool facial scar.
Oh no. Toronto area, not bad.
Canada.
It's like, how about a sky, eh?
How about a scar, eh?
All right then. I don't think there's much to go on besides we're gonna plug our socials, like, you know, thank everyone. So yeah, dude, why don't you start, Matt? So where can we find you? Where can we follow you? And do you have any other social media that we can check out your work at?
Yeah, so my main social is Instagram. I've got Twitter connected, but I haven't actually checked it. I just like press the button that says send to Twitter. I'm like, you're free now. Like, let's see what happens. But yeah, baraelsbrush at Instagram is where I'm at. Hoping to post some more regular stuff now that I'm moving out of this place and into my own space. My hobby desk is like this big at the moment. It makes me very, very sad.
Work with your elbows in. Yeah.
Oh man, it's rough. Yeah, like I feel like I got models and bases on top of models. My paints are just like everything's here, but it's everything's here. It's too much. Yeah.
Man.
And my big project is working on my Lumineth, and my big daddy Techless. He's coming. I'm scared to paint him because I don't want to stuff him up. Do you know what I mean?
It is an intimidating model, but I have the utmost faith in you. Remember, all those sub-assemblies are for cowards.
No sub-assembly? No sub-assembly?
That's a sentinel.
Smarter men.
No sub-assembly?
Yes. No, I'm a sub-assembly. That's how I roll. My wife found this on the couch, and she's like, oh my gosh, I think one of the kids have been playing with your models and I think it's broken. I was like, oh, what is it? She's like, it looks like an archer. I was like, what's missing? Is his head still there? She's like, his head's still there. I'm like, oh, does he have his bow? He doesn't have his bow. Are there 5 bows on the desk? There's 5 on the desk. He's fine, just put him back. She's like, oh, okay. I need to sub-assemble. I don't have the brushes that get in and under and...
Yeah.
It's not about the brushes, it's about accepting that you're not going to get in and under.
Assemblies for certain.
I think.
But people might look in that little nook and see that it's just black, man.
Then I'm going to go like, you know, it's black because there's shadow.
Yeah, we're talking OSL. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
drive
like,
a hard
see?
bargain, man.
Yeah.
See, I'm just like, oh.
Or I'll just ask him when the last time he had fun was. Oh, you seem fun.
I'm like, also, there was that one time where I played Carl France, and he was like, oh my god, there's like a white spot in Carl France. Like, what? It's like, where is it? It's like, there, just on his crotch. And it's like, dude, why are you looking at his crotch that closely?
I left that
Yeah.
there just for you.
Yeah.
They're like, what? He's excited. He gets to go hit orcs.
Yeah, that's a highlight.
It's really bright down there, mate.
Yeah.
Right on, right
Oh,
on.
right on, right.
Well, you want to
So-
plug yours there, Mr. Dragon Teeth?
Oh, okay, yeah. So you guys can follow me at DragonTooth Makes. Please, don't forget to like and subscribe on the video. Hit that bell icon and comment down below about what you think
Smash
about this
it.
new segment about having guests, bring them on here, and having them explain their story. Because I think it's an amazing opportunity for anyone and everyone, and we're open to everyone. So don't forget to message me on DragonTooth, like on Instagram, or comment down below with some sort of weird, obscene, profanity. I don't know. Just
Get
Yeah,
his
that'll
attention
catch our attention for
any
sure.
way possible.
yeah. Even if it's bad intention, just get it into there. So I'll be like, hey, what's up,
Or
mate?
if you have an interesting story, some really interesting like painting techniques, modeling things you've been working on. We want to hear about it. We want to showcase it, and we want to make sure that this big global hobby network gets closer and more knit together. Because we're all in this together. We're all rolling dice. We're all laughing. We're all pushing around plastic crack.
Love it.
Exactly. We gotta keep going
Yeah,
and
man.
keep going past this whole World War III and still pandemic.
Oh God. I know, right?
Right? Nothing
Mhm.
could possibly get worse.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. All right then.
As long as we've got Warhammer to distract us, we're good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right then. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and have a great night. Bye
You
bye.
too. Thanks, guys. Catch you later.
Well, thank you, man. Been a
Thank
pleasure.
you, thank
Been a
you, thank
pleasure.
you.
We'll talk to you soon.